morning, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Prospects After Dark. It is Monday, April 23rd. We have a lot of developments. We have an amazing start by Austin Gombers to talk about. We have Cardinals winning a couple. We have the Cincinnati Reds looking pretty terrible. Let's see, we've got Barilli saying, "What's up? Hello, not Barilli. Welcome to the little program this evening." We've got the Springfield Cardinal game on right over here, hoping for the best. Let's see. Yellow. So I'm wearing my Jurassic Park hoodie. Just threw it on. I don't have a shirt on underneath it. I took a weird little nap here a little while ago, and I'm trying to get my shit together. So there's a couple things we need to go over real fast. I am on call at work, so at any moment we might have to shut this thing down, and I might have to leave the little broadcast to go into work. Very small chance it happens, but I think we're fine. The second thing is, and we teased it earlier. Oh, somebody said, "Oh, hey, Tara, nice to see you." So the other thing we teased earlier, we might as well get to it, is one of my guys at work. I work with Hoosiers. Again, I'm a construction worker, a glorified construction worker. I'm a foreman of a concrete crew. My guys are Hoosiers in like the fanciest way you could ever imagine. And one of my guys made me moonshine. Now, this is homemade moonshine. And let me tell you a little story about this color. It was apple juice color. He cut the moonshine with apple juice, and it turned it into this pink over time. This is some real stuff. We're going to open it for the first time if nature will allow it, which nature doesn't want to allow it. Kyle stunt double at last night's game. That's right. Somebody, my boy there mentioned that there was a guy. Hold on, we're going to pour this into a glass. Again, we're going to pour this into a glass. We got to take it easy tonight because there's a chance. Look at that, Jesus. Because there's a chance. There's a chance that I might get called into work, so we got to take it kind of easy. But, so Ryan Schul says we're on episode 14. I think, actually, Ryan, we're on episode 15, believe it or not. I think we missed an episode in there. Let's see. Let's pop open the moonshine, as Cardinal Gift says. Now, you people are allowed to drink whatever you want. Drink your non-alcoholic beverages. We encourage that. We encourage adult beverages. We encourage anything you want. I'm drinking moonshine tonight. Normally, it's bourbon. Gifts likes those mules. He's a big fan of the mules. So drink whatever you like. Again, and we're here to talk about everything in the Cardinals world. There's plenty to talk about tonight. Again, we can talk about Waino, the DL. We can talk about the bullpen. Shirley Temple from Mo's Algorithms. Mo's, it was a pleasure meeting you this weekend. We can talk about the UCB weekend, which I thought was fantastic. It was a pleasure to meet the people who were there. Hi, Kyle. It's final week. So for all of our people who are going through finals this week, good luck. We wish you nothing but the best. Gifts has his copper mug. He's going to do a little muling. Ryan Schul asked how UCB weekend was. Well, Ryan, it is an incredible experience that I feel so fortunate to take part in. Without just talking about the bloggers or getting to meet or getting to have a Q&A with Mo and Bill DeWitt III and talking to the guy who runs the culinary arts at Busch Stadium, getting to hang out with stlCupofJoe on Friday night, getting to meet Tara Wellman on Friday night or on Saturday night, for dinner, and then watching the game with Tara and Zach on Sunday was a blast. Getting to Periscope with them, bringing Zach in, screwing around with Zach, messing around with the difference between GIFs and GIFs was a lot of fun. I can't tell you how much fun the entire weekend is. And again, Daniel Shoptaw, C70, the fact that he orchestrates it kind of gets blown under the carpet. It is a tremendous honor to take part in it, and I hope the new people, this is my second time, I hope they really got to enjoy it. Meeting Mo's better have been your best memory. It was a pleasure to meet Mo's. What's the download on the pitching lab? What's the down low on the pitching lab for the Cardinals? Well, they didn't really get into very much information, but the idea is that they're building their own version. And again, the tremendous nerdy question from the lovely and talented Zach Gifford. He asked the question, and Mo releases the information. It's the first time I've heard them say anything about designing a pitching lab along the lines of Driveline. That's big news. And Zach got it just from asking the question. Politely slam the retweet button. Card's Gift says, I almost called him Carp. I'm not quite in the right mind frame for this. I got to take a drink. That is not playing around. What's worse, the Cincinnati Reds or the Iowa Cubs? So today, Austin Gombers pitched 8 innings of 16 strikeout and 6 hit baseball against the Iowa Cubs, and I have to tell you that Iowa Cubs team is the worst minor league lineup I've ever seen produced. Now, I say that the Cardinals had a really bad AAA team a couple years back. I'm not even going to try to recite that. I don't remember. I blocked it out of my head. But the Iowa Cubs are about as bad as it gets. And when you listen to the Iowa Cubs broadcast, they're trying to sell it to the fans like this is a good team. They're just not doing well right now, and they are bad. Yo, Kyle, I made it. What's up, Midmo Cards? Thanks for playing. Reds are beating down the Braves. It's funny how that works, right? The Cardinals beat down the Reds, and then the Reds went to Milwaukee and beat Milwaukee 9-0 or something crazy like that. They beat down the Reds again, and they go to Atlanta and beat down the Braves. Cubs cabinet is empty, as DeGarg says. Yeah, the Cubs don't really have a whole lot to replenish their system. Gomber project as a starter or reliever. Ryan, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. For me, and I'm going to refer you to stlCupofJoe's thoughts on Gomber because we have the same, and I'm really just cherry picking what I believe and using someone else as the scapegoat. But for me, I think we all view Austin Gomber as a starting pitcher. Now, sure, he might have a long-term stability or sustainability, rather, in the bullpen. But I think that his arsenal in particular would play well in a starting rotation. His breaking pitch, his curve was dynamite today. His fastball was dynamite. He was using his changeup a little bit more today, and I think that was part of the reason why he was as effective as he was. He was painting the corners, got into some trouble late in the 7th, and then got in some trouble in the 8th and worked himself out of it. He has the intangibles to be a starting pitcher. He has the drive and the bulldog attitude to be a starting pitcher, but he could definitely be a beautiful piece out of the bullpen. Lefty in the rotation would be cool. That's not something I particularly care about. I want your 5 best pitchers regardless of what hand they are. But yeah, it would be cool. DeGarg, which Memphis outfielder will be in St. Louis next? Well, you know, the one guy in Memphis that's kind of gone unnoticed or unheralded while everyone else is raking is Oscar Mercado, and Oscar's on the 40-man. You know, the thing that hurts Oscar is that he's a pure center fielder. He can play the corners, but you want him in the center if you're going to call him up, and there's a little bit of a clog there because if the Cardinals are going to call up a center fielder, they already have Harrison Bader, and Harrison Bader would take the majority of any type of sub at bats first. So if I had my guess, I would say Oscar Mercado, and he offers you something very unique on the bench, something that Harrison Bader offers you as well. But then you wouldn't have to worry so much about your Harrison Bader usage as the 4th outfielder. Are you saying Scruggs and Jacob Wilson were bad or something, bro? Yeah, Graham. Hey, Graham. It's nice to see you, buddy. Better American Idol, Carrie Underwood or Austin Gomber? I got to tell you, I've got a huge crush on that Carrie Underwood. But I'll say Austin Gomber because I have a huge man crush on Austin Gomber. My man crush for Austin Gomber outweighs my love crush on Carrie Underwood. What have you seen out of Jonathan Machado recently? Somebody says a Rosa Spade Arena because he's so fast. Hold on, I'm going to write that down about Machado. We'll get back to that. Does Max Schrock crack the Major League roster before September? No, I'll say no. I think Max Schrock is going to regress a little bit to the norm. Let me write down Machado real fast. I want to get to Machado, but it's one of those like heavy things that we need to talk about. Am I liking Piscotty's hot streak right now? Yeah, I'm happy for him. Good for him. I'm jumping way ahead. So Schrock, I think that you'll see a little regression. As I'm watching that game today, it dawns on me that every time I've watched Max Schrock take a swing at anything on the inside half of a plate, he's made contact with it. I haven't seen that quick bat, that barrel drop of his miss a pitch on the inside when he's taken a swing at it yet. That's really impressive. That being said, you know, he still swings it too much. His contact tool almost hurts him because he's so good at making contact with everything. I got to get a drink of water. This moonshine is not joking. Don't worry, I'll chase it with the moonshine. Holy cow. I am drinking... Pipe cleaner would be a nice change of pace compared to this moonshine. I can't tell you how strong this is. You could declog a carburetor, if that's even possible, with this moonshine. Which member of Memphis rotation has a stuff that does not... ask me the question about Memphis again. Normally, this is where I go to Cardinals Gifts, who's writing them down on Twitter tweets. Dakota Hudson sure gets a lot of fly balls. That's right, Graham. Yeah, he's a pure ground ball strikeout. Well, his strikeout rate's starting to go up, too. He almost has a K per inning over his last 3 starts. That's a very important thing, but he's definitely a ground ball pitcher. It's nice to see him readjusting and acclimating. Taking a step back, let's talk about Jonathan Machado. Now, for those of you who don't know who Jonathan Machado is, he's an 18/19-year-old outfielder, built like Magneuris Sierra, with similar skills as Magneuris Sierra. Not as good of a center fielder, but a better contact tool, who got an advanced promotion to Peoria. Well, the thing about Jonathan Machado is he's not very good right now. It's a little too aggressive of a promotion to be at Peoria for him, and that's not to like disparage what he's doing. He's making contact. He's not striking out like a ton. He's not striking out a level where you think, oh, this is going to be a problem. But with that being said, the level is just too much for him. Like, it's not like Dylan Carlson where you could see him holding his own. Peoria is too much for Jonathan Machado right now. And sure, he might end up getting to the level eventually, but he just isn't there yet. Rebby Grill says, the hell does 18, 19-year-old mean? Well, so he started, when he entered the year, when it became January 21st, when it became January 1st, he was 18, and I think he's 19 now. So he's either 18 or 19. I think he's 19. I'm pretty sure he's 19. Anyways, that's what that means. Tips. Are there any tips for beating not Beryllian Fantasy? I can't tell those. We're going to have to go to the DM Gram. Midmo Cardinals asked which member of Memphis' rotation has the stuff that does not stay starter if they make the majors. Man, in the Memphis rotation, I guess Dakota Hudson is probably the easy answer there. You know, he gets a lot of ground balls. That's kind of a cop-out. I think, by and large, Daniel Ponce de Leon's best role is out of the bullpen. Now, especially that his K numbers are starting to go up a little bit. It's been an interesting adjustment. He also has a funky delivery that keeps people off balance. I could see him being really useful in a 1 or 2 inning situation. Let's see. Forever Card says he's drinking H2O tonight. Ryan Margold says, poor Miguel Sokolovich. Indeed. Let's see. The next question is, how is Carson Kelly doing so far? Not Barilli asked. Carson's really struggled. We mentioned that he's starting to get, last Periscope or the Periscope before that, we mentioned that Carson's starting to look more like Carson behind the plate. That's a step in the right direction. It seems like he's trying to be an all-fields hitter. Maybe he's trying to stroke it to right field a little too much. But right now, the offensive production hasn't been where you wanted it to be, which is in stark contrast of our boy Andrew Kisner, who is hammering the baseball. A lot of singles, not a whole lot of slug. I think he has 5 doubles and 1 home run, Kisner does. But he's batting like .460, and he leads the Texas League in hitting. And like I said, then you juxtapose that with Carson Kelly, and it's like 2 completely different hitters. Yo, how's Bofa? I don't know what that means. Kyle, did you answer my question already? Just joining. Cardinals rants, I have not. We'll get to it. Let's see. Is Carson Kelly just sad, depressed right now? You know, Graham, I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's down there, and I think he's working on his... sorry, Zach, I missed your question. I think he's down there in Memphis, and I think he's working on his approach. I think at the beginning of the season with Carson Kelly, we shouldn't invest so much in what the numbers look like as he's trying to re-engineer his swing to make it more major league ready. Let's see. Mo says, at this point, what does it matter what Kelly's doing? Yachty's doing Yachty stuff, and that's a solid point because I feel like this is the best I've ever seen Yachty at the plate, even in his 20 home run season. He just looks so zoned in, and he looks like he's having fun, and that's good. Somebody asked, how's Delvin Perez doing? Delvin is at extended spring training. There aren't a whole lot of reports coming out. I know the Cardinals aren't disappointed with what he's doing, but he isn't playing full season ball, so he's at Palm Beach with the extended spring club. Margold says, Yachty's raking. You're right. K-Clab97 says, Kisner is a better option above Kelly anyways. Now, that could very well be true. I'm not going to argue against it, especially because I'm an Andrew Kisner homer. What I will say is Carson Kelly suffers from a little bit of prospect fatigue and was mishandled by the Cardinals last year, and I think that sways exactly how we view Carson Kelly in the whole. Are you concerned at all about Hicks and lack of strikeouts? People are all starting to take notice. I'm not concerned by it, especially because he's still getting ground balls, right? In the minor leagues, he was never a really big strikeout guy. This is just kind of like in line with what he did in the minor leagues. And this is also the danger, the one small danger with calling up a guy who still needs to work on his changeup, his fastball command, and his slider command. We've seen how nasty the fastball and the slider can be. But imagine if he had a changeup to throw those bats off. You know, people talk about Aroldis Chapman, and I've heard a lot of people speculate that Jordan Hicks, he shows the ball too early, or as Zach Gifford likes to bring up the lack of spin rate on his fastball. For me, I think it's a control issue, and I think what separates him from Aroldis Chapman is every once in a while Aroldis drops out an 85 mile an hour changeup with perfect location, and that's just not something Hicks does yet. I'm not concerned about the lack of strikeouts because he's still producing, but if it gets to be the point where the lack of strikeouts are hurting his production, then yeah, I'll be concerned. Let's see. Is Randy still impressing at Memphis? Yeah, our boy Randy Arozarena is playing pretty damn dynamite at Memphis. His strikeout rate is a little high. They've kind of moved him from the leadoff spot to back hitting 6th and 7th. He's kind of buoyed back and forth. He was thrown out trying to steal for the first time yesterday. He's playing a really good outfield. He made a great play in right field today to cut off a ball and get it into second. He's doing well. He's still struggling a little bit, but he's doing well. What trade deadline deal could you see the Cardinals making? That's from Chris Kringle 77. In our little fantasy baseball group chat today, we were talking a lot about Josh Donaldson. I think that's the most likely of all of the trades. I don't know how likely it is. I don't think the Cardinals have a pressing need for a starting pitcher. I would like to see them stay away from that market, and their bullpen is drastically improved from where it was last year. So I think something, in my mind, it's either Brian Dozier at second or Josh Donaldson at third, and more than likely Dozier isn't going to get traded. So, will Wisdom ever get a shot in the majors? That was a hot topic this weekend at UCB weekend. A lot of people asking about Patrick Wisdom and if he's ever going to crack the major league roster. Truth be told, I don't know. I think the numbers are against him. I think it hurts him that between the 15 guys who are on the 40-man that can play third and first, and the 2 guys at the major league level who are only first basemen, I think it really hurts his chances, but you never know. The 40-man hurts his chances too. The Cardinals are up against it on the 40-man. That really, really hurts his abilities to crack a major league roster. D. Scrange says, Gomber on regular rest or Flaherty on 8 days rest for Saturday? For me, and that's a great question. I love that you asked that question. For me, as I adjust this, I would do Flaherty on 8 days rest because arrested Jack Flaherty is better than arrested Austin Gomber. Now, not by a lot. My other concern, as I talked with Mo's algorithm today on Twitter, my other concern with Gomber is Gomber threw a career high in pitches with 112. He struggled in the 8th inning. It took him 22 pitches to get through the 8th. He should have been pulled at the 7-1 inning mark. And he also really had to grind through the 7th. So the last 2 innings were rough on him. They were laborious. And he got through it, and it was an awesome thing to watch him finish out that 8th inning and that 7th inning. But I would rather than be cautious than aggressive in that. Now, Gomber earned a start. I just don't want it to be now on regular rest. I almost want him to get another day of rest before he pitches on Saturday. Let me put it this way. I'm a huge Austin Gomber fan, and what I would like for Austin Gomber to get a chance to make a major league impression at his best. And he was at his best today. The question is, with that heavy workload, with that late inning stress, will he be at his best on Saturday? And the fact that you even have to ask that question is why I wouldn't bring him up. You've got Jack Flaherty ready to go. What are you getting in the Carson Braves scenario? So the other thing is, I think this is one thing that gets lost in Carson Kelly trade talk amongst Cardinal fans. I've seen people try to trade him to teams that are looking for a catcher, contending teams. Put yourself in the situation of the Cardinals. If the Cardinals needed a catcher, and they were looking to upgrade the catcher position, would they trade with another team for a prospect that's unproven to be their everyday catcher? No, they wouldn't. And neither would the Washington National. Neither would all these other teams. The only way Carson Kelly gets traded is if it's to a team that's going to rebuild, not to a team that's contending. I wouldn't say the Cardinals wouldn't make that trade. I think the Cardinals would talk about it, but I just don't think that the other team is going to make that trade. The Braves don't have a catcher in their system past Flowers and Suzuki, but yeah, there aren't a lot of teams that have Flowers or Suzuki either. And if they needed to get, you're talking about in the long run, that's just not how it works. Let's see, is Voit back? Yes, Luke Voit is back, and he isn't getting a lot of hits, but he's striking the ball hard. His timing mechanism at the plate is really interesting to me. I don't think I ever paid enough attention to it. Yeah, but he's looked good. He's been fine. Tom Thumbs Blues said, Tom Thumbs Blues asks, is Elweris Montero and my thoughts? As Farmer Vala said on Twitter, you have a teenager anchoring the Peoria lineup, and he's doing a damn good job of it. Both he and Juan Yepes are hitting above 400. They both have OPSs in the ones, which is incredible. It's cool to watch El Juarez, who was at the same level as Jonathan Machado last year in the Gulf Coast League, rake where Jonathan Machado hasn't. It goes to show you one's level of maturity as a hitter, not personal-wise, as opposed to the other's level of maturity. Let's see. Oh, somebody says Jorge Alfaro. What even happened to Knapp? Knapp got released. Apparently the Cubs and Cardinals have been scouting the Rays a bunch. Yeah, that's a holdover from last year. The Cubs and Cardinals were at the Rays games and Rays prospects games nonstop. Could the Memphis team win 65 games in the majors? I would take the under. I just think... I think we oversell how talented some of these teams are that are bad at the major league level. I'd say under, but not by many. Can a high spin rate fastball be learned, developed, or is that a naturally talented thing? Well, as Zach Gifford and I talked this weekend at UCB Weekend, and just like with Trevor Bauer of the Indians, you can learn a high spin rate fastball. It's not easily learned, and it takes a lot of work. But it can be learned. Now, every pitcher is different. Every player is different. Mizalak said in the interview yesterday that their goal is to take what every player does well and make them better at it. So yes, Driveline has proven that you can learn spin rate, but it's not easy to do. And again, I would tell you to ask Zach about that. Zach Gifford could give you a better understanding of that. Are you still going to do a call interview with Hicks' parents? What do you want to ask them? Yeah, so Tara and I are still planning to do that. We were hoping to do a little face-to-face, one-on-one interview with Mr. Hicks and Mrs. Hicks this weekend, but it just fell through after Jordan pitched on Saturday. They got out of here on Sunday, which is really awesome. Good for them. What an awesome moment. But yeah, we still plan on doing it. And honestly, if you listen to the interview I got to do with Evan Mendoza this weekend over at Birds on the Black, and you should definitely check it out. You'll hear me say the word, oh, that's great, like 15 times. It's actually really embarrassing. But that's how I want to do interviews. I don't want to have so much structure as I want to use the knowledge that I have to ask questions in kind of a bullshit session. You know, if you want a structured interview, you can go anywhere. I want to have a little bit more like a casual conversation. Like, you know, I want to have an idea of what I want to ask, but I want questions to come up naturally. The beginning of my interview with Evan Mendoza was a little forced because I wanted to keep things... thanks, GM Gersh. I wanted to keep things structured. And it wasn't until about 10 minutes in where I just let loose and I started asking whatever question was on the top of my mind that it went well. And that's what we want to do with the Hicks family. How is Nick Plummer doing these days? Nick Plummer's still making contact. He isn't driving the ball much. Zach sent me a really interesting article from Fangraphs, and Fangraphs talked about how he's changed his preload bat hold. He started laying it on his shoulder at the beginning of the year, and now he's back to having it up in the air. The thing about Nick Plummer, and I was telling Zach this, he doesn't use his lower body at all to swing. He's all hands. He's all barrel through the zone. And that really hurts him in the long run. He's probably 2 years away from developing any sense of real power. He's not striking out. He's getting on base a lot. He's making average to weak contact. We'll see how it develops. He missed a lot of time leading into the season. We'll see how it develops. How's the Moonshine? Thank you for asking. It's fucking strong, children. Get yourself a drink. Of this young rotation, which player has the best odds to win a Cy Young? Jack Flaherty. If we're not including Alex Reyes, it's Jack Flaherty. What's up with J.B. Woodman and Connor Green? Woodman has shown signs of being okay at Palm Beach, but really he's kind of old for the league. And he's not doing anything so impressive that he really stands out. Connor Green had a rough first start. And then pitched great after a rough first inning in his second start. And then he had a pedestrian third start. But he still walked too many people. It's exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the year when the Cardinals traded for Connor Green. It's fastball command isn't there. He's got a great curveball, but he slows himself down. He can locate it pretty well. And he needs to get better at throwing his changeup. that's the difference between Connor Green being a top-level prospect and being a mediocre and interesting level prospect. How's the Springfield game going? Springfield is making it tight. It's the top of the ninth with 2 outs, a 1-1 count, and Springfield is up 6-5 with runners on the corners. Do you think Hicks could get a chance to start at some point? We asked John Mozeliak about that. Yesterday, and he said he just doesn't know. It's going to be about opportunity. You know, honestly, the best chance of Jordan Hicks starting at this point is struggling out of the bullpen. If Jordan Hicks struggles out of the bullpen in the near future, then he'll go down to the minors as a starter, and that's his best bet. But right now, he's just too impactful to the bullpen. Springfield wins 6-5, a little ninth inning drama, but the game is over. Springfield goes home victorious once again. They got off to such a bad start. To see them turn it around is really awesome. Watching the Yankees-Twins game, cried after the Stanton home run. Funny. It hurts still. Seagrace10 says, Kisner or Kelly as a future catcher? We still have 3 more years of Yachty. Let's focus on that. A lot changes in 3 years. Everyone keeps saying that Kisner's on a better track, but, even Mo said today, you could almost project Kisner out, or I said yesterday, you could almost project Kisner out as a first baseman or somewhere else. Here's what I know is that opportunity will create that answer. Waka thrown into a trade to have a Martinez, Flaherty, Weaver, Reyes, Michaelis rotation. I'm all for it. The question is, what would the Cardinals do? And I don't know if the Cardinals would make that move. Yada, yada, yada. That's right, Lauren. Hi, Lauren. Welcome to our little dance. How is Kelly looking? As I said a little while ago, better behind the plate, but still struggling at the plate, swinging the bat. If the Cardinals were willing to pay for Stanton, why wouldn't they for some other free agent this year? Mo danced around that question. Bill DeWitt danced around that question this weekend either. We didn't really get much straight out of that. I forgot who it was, asked a great question about increasing the payroll to Bill DeWitt III, and we didn't get much of an answer. So is Javi Baez just a huge bitch? I don't know. I'm going to stay out of that Javi Baez talk. I'm not going to glorify his existence by commenting on him calling DJ LeMahieu out or whatever happened there. Not sure you could get a bag of baseballs for Waka. You could definitely get a bag of baseballs for Waka. Michael Waka, I think, would actually net you in return more than you might think. Probably almost certainly more than Grichuk got you, and almost certainly more than what Piscotty got you. Pitching is a currency. Major League ready pitching is a currency. Don't forget that. What's wrong with Lions? I know Mo's algorithm wrote an article over at the Redbird Daily about it that I still haven't read. Check out the article. Maybe he can tell you what's wrong with Tyler Lyons. stlCupofJoe likes to rib C70 and just say Tyler Lyons is bad. Sometimes, Joe, the simple is the right answer. Is Wong any good or what? Hold on, I'm going to answer that about Wong. So the funny thing about Kolten Wong is we're spending a lot of time complaining and bitching about Kolten Wong. Never mind that he has a better on-base percentage than Marcell Ozuna. Kolten Wong is fodder. He is fodder for Cardinal fans. Sure, he's not playing great, but he's also not playing so terribly over the recent history, just like Dexter Fowler, who's been better lately as opposed to the shitty start he got off to. He's been playing better lately, and let's see how it develops. Not for pitchers that can't get through the lineup a third time. So somebody said, and I've got to do the research, DeGarg, he's actually been better the third time through than recent past. Let's see how it all plays out. And you say that, but what you don't keep in mind is that he's still throwing in the mid to high 90s. If a team trades for him, they could look at him as a bullpen piece. The Cardinals don't. They never will. Just keep that in mind. Cardinals Gifts says to Mr. Hicks, Mr. Jason Hicks, how about that first win? A little stressful for a minute. I didn't get to watch it. My Little League team was playing. I was pretty disappointed about that. But we're going to raise our glass. And to the Hicks family, to Jordan Hicks, we're going to say congratulations on your first win. The analytics people and even myself say that wins are pointless, but they matter to the players. So to the first win. People seem to forget that Wong was damn near our best hitter last year. He was consistent all year. I wouldn't say damn near the best, but he had a really good year last year. I get asked about Max Schrock a lot now and if he could replace Kolten Wong. That's a really interesting question. I think people forget that Kolten Wong was a really, really great minor league hitter. And people see Max Schrock hitting 400 and they think, oh, this guy could replace Kolten Wong. Well, it goes to show you that there is a huge disparity between what you see at AAA and what you see at the major league level. The one thing that Max Schrock has on Kolten Wong is Max Schrock can make contact with everything. It's just like with most people who can make contact with anything not named Guerrero or Guerrero Jr., it's a lot of lazy contact. So sure, he's not striking out. If he starts hitting everything hard all over the place, then maybe. But try to keep things in context. Thoughts on lineup changes this weekend? I like the way everything went this weekend. Again, Saturday, I didn't get to watch most of that game between some family stuff and Little League and then the UCB weekend. That game was beyond me. So I can't really say. I will say that I love the way the lineup looked on Sunday when I was there. It was great to see Kolten Wong hit a home run. I don't think there's anything wrong with constantly adjusting and constantly changing the lineup. I think that Mike Matheny sticking with the same lineup, too, for the most part, has been a positive. I know this. I personally like Dexter Fowler back in the lineup. Not because of the leadoff thing or not because of Matt Carpenter. I'm not smart enough to understand any of that. But what I do feel is that I like Dexter Fowler in like that fifth spot. I just really like him there. I think he performs well there, too. I'm sure the numbers contradict me, but I like him a lot. Where's the Seth Beer article, bro? Graham, I don't know if you've noticed this. I haven't written anything in a long time. Monday through Friday, I work a lot, and then I've got a family thing, and then I've got Little League, and I've neglected my writing, and it's embarrassing. I've got a draft, like a 3-paragraph draft that's terrible. Hopefully, and it's a long shot, but hopefully in the near future I can sit down and write some more. Tom Thumbs Blue says, I love Fowler. Yeah, I like Fowler too. You know, a lot of people ask about Fowler, and a lot of people hate Fowler, and I can't help but think it's only because he was signed as a free agent. Yes, I'm a big fan of Dex in the 5-hole. I like that. Cool. J-Mart has the same walk rate and strikeout rate. I love that. There's a couple minor leaguers that do that too. Got to take my socks off. It's starting to get hot in here. There's a couple minor leaguers who do that too. It's incredible. It's a great thing to see. Christian Villanueva better than all other players in baseball. He's hot right now. Tyler O'Neill is a serious piece of man candy. He is legit Grichuk number 2. He's Grichuk number 1. Dude, he's built more than Grichuk. He's probably a better player in the long run than Grichuk too. Grichuk is O'Neill version 2.0. Or O'Neill version 0.5. O'Neill version 0.5. What brand of socks do you recommend? Whichever socks absorb the most chunky liquid. Fowler's career average from the fifth spot is 368. See? Oh, good work, Tara. What's the rotation in 3 years? I'm not going to tell you. The Moonshine kicking your ass, Kyle? Yes, Mr. Hicks. We're about halfway through it. We still got this. I was hoping to not drink that much, but now I'm starting to now we're starting to get into it. What's up, Kyle? I'm drinking Yingling tonight. There we go. I like that Yingling. You can't get it in St. Louis. It's not easily accessible in St. Louis. My favorite food. Oh, wow. Hot. We're going to get into hot food talk. I like a good steak. I like a good pizza. I like two tamare, which, by the way, Eric, the semi-great, if you're in here, I know you took my leftovers, you slick son of a bitch. I know at UCB you took my two tamare leftovers from Zia's, and believe it or not, I will drive to your town and I will get my leftovers. Don't think I won't. Cardinals player most likely to be traded at the deadline. A lot of people say Jed Jerko. I don't think so. I think it's more likely to be Kolten Wong if I had to use somebody off the 25-man. Let's see. I'm a bird. Mega Driver 86 says. Stanley Cup predictions. You know, I filled out a bracket for one of my guys at work who didn't know anything about hockey. I don't know a lot about hockey, but I think I had Pittsburgh back in losing to Winnipeg, I think. A dream trade or off-season acquisition, I want Manny Machado. Now, again, we had in the DMs earlier, in our Little League DMs, Jesus, let me start over. In our fantasy baseball DM, we were talking about Machado and what it would take to get Machado. Look, I wouldn't overspend at all for 5 months of Manny Machado, especially with the options that the Cardinals have. But I would sign him to a crazy deal this offseason if the opportunity presented itself. I'd rather get Harper. If the Cardinals didn't have a million outfielders, I'd feel the same way. It's just I think Manny Machado makes a bigger impact for what he does and what Bryce Harper does. Takes his socks off but not his beanie. Yeah, dude, the beanie's got to cover my weird avocado head. We won't get him long term. I don't think so either, Lauren. Kyle, who do you think will be replacing Waino? I still think it's Flaherty. I know Flaherty's on a lot of rest, but that's the direction I'd go in. I was really impressed with what Austin Gombers did, but I hate that he threw 112 pitches. I hate that he labored through the last 2 innings to get done. And if he had just one extra day, I might say Gomber. But I really, really love Flaherty. And if you've got a guy like Jack Flaherty, you might as well use him. We are waiting till Goldschmidt guys chill. That I'd be okay with that, although the Cardinals have Jose Martinez now, so suck it. Watch the draft lottery on Saturday. Okay. I should have taken your tuna. It looks fantastic. Thank you, Eric. After drinking the shine, wins the funeral, Wildcat says. We're doing good now, tomorrow, probably. I saw Jeff Niehaus, I believe, tweeted out a picture of me superimposed over a toilet vomiting. Hopefully not. If Cubs get Harper, who do they have to let go? And would we jump on him? I don't know. What if we got Mike Trout in free agency in 2 years? That'd be great. Let's blah, blah, blah. You're ignoring me. I got on while driving home just for this. Go Gomber. Hello, stlCupofJoe. That's right. Just like Joe says, go Gomber. Great start. It was beautiful, Joe. You would have been so proud of him. He wasn't overthrowing his curveball. We saw it in spring training where he tried to get way over the top of that curveball and snap it hard. Nothing was different. All three of his pitches he was throwing exactly alike. And the way that curveball was biting on the outside corners to righties was beautiful, Joe. It was beautiful. He was working that fastball in hard, the changeup blowing in, the changeup blowing out, and then moving the curveball in and out. It was beautiful, man. Oh, you did watch. Awesome. It was beautiful. I love that. Now that Jose has established himself every day, I think moving Carpenter to second long-term is a deal. Could be. I don't know what's next. So, it's tough. It's fun to play the projection game. It's fun to say, all right, this is the next person traded. This is who's going to be playing third base in a week. This is who's going to be playing third base in a couple of years. What I know is that the Cardinals have a ton of options at a ton of different positions. And yeah, a lot of those guys aren't like the high caliber type. A lot of those guys aren't Joey Votto or Nolan Arenado or Paul Goldschmidt. Sure. But they do have guys that the Cardinals traditionally hold on to for a long time. I know this. Jose Martinez can only play first base and he can only play left field. And he's a really, really good pure hitter. I'm not willing to give that up for a $200, $300 million free agent, even if that free agent is Paul Goldschmidt. We need a Kyle After Dark group chat for people who are or aren't in your fantasy league. We should do something like that, holy shit. Jed needs some abs. Jed shaved some of that baby fat. I think Jed looks sleek and thin now. I'm impressed with the baby fat drop off from Jed. I wish I looked like Jed at this point. Seth Beer is overrated from Patrick B to Graham. That's how these periscopes usually end up getting heated. We end up going after each other's favorite collegiate players. Let's see, blah, blah. Schrock says, get your ass out of 2B Carp because I'm coming. Schrock, he looks really good. Like we said, he can make contact with everything. His arm seems to have gotten a tick stronger, or at least a tick. The exchange from the glove to the hand seems to have gotten just a tick quicker from last year. He turned a double play this year that, after watching a bunch of his games last year, I haven't seen him turn. That's a positive. That's a step in the right direction. Kyle, you trashed Jose Martinez in favor of Seth Beer, flip-flop, flippity-flop. I did, Graham, but most of the time I just say shit to fuck with you, so keep that in mind. Schrock is going to be really good. Yeah, Schrock has a borderline elite contact tool. It's a contact tool that a lot of other people don't have, and he's doing it at AAA, which is a sign of sustainability. And I think we all should pump our brakes a little bit too, because a 400 batting average at AAA isn't sustainable. Let's see what it looks like here in about 3 weeks. It could easily drop from 410 or whatever it's at right now to sub 300 this early in the year. Carpenter's arm is going to fall off before the break. The Cardinals and the amount of compromised arms they have, it's scary. I hate the fact that Ozuna is compromised out in the outfield, although he did make a strong throw later on in that game on Friday or Saturday, whatever day it was. But between he and Carp, that's not good. Gotta go get me Schrocks off. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. When Max Schrock comes up, can you smell what the Schrock is cooking? We had that last week. I gotta go get my Schrocks off whenever he's in the starting rotation, or the starting lineup, I mean. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. People are starting to sleep on Reis now with these new young arms thrown. RJ Cardinals, I think it's an appropriate amount of sleeping on Reis. I like being a little cautious with him, and I think Mo stressed that this weekend as well. He said putting him on the 60-day DL was big for them because it allowed them to take it slow with him, and that's all a positive. That's all a great thing. As Scott, Texas Cards fans #1, hey brother, we love you on Twitter. Says, I am a wacko. I am indeed. I'm a wacko. I'm a weirdo. I'm all those things. Kyle, what's going on with Helsley? Well, I'm actually going to defer to my good friend Colin Gardner here. I've only got to see parts of all of Helsley's starts. And the issue is that he's not getting his breaking pitches low. He's throwing everything high in the zone. He's not commanding his curveball, his cutter, or his changeup. And he's walking too many people. He's leaving stuff over the middle of the zone. And it's backfiring as it would with any pitcher. His fastball still looks good. People still could barely touch the fastball. All these signs point to him being a long-term relief option, which breaks my heart. I think he's better than that. But we'll see. Any thoughts on Grayson Ginesta? A lot of people ask me about Grayson. Wichita State first baseman outfielder. This is what I'll say. Every time I go to watch video of this kid for GM Gersh, Michael Gersh or whatever, on Twitter, I always find other hitters I like more. For instance, there's a kid from Oregon State who I have to pull his name up. It's like a Dahlbach or something like that. Hold on. Trevor Larnack, who I like more than I like Grayson Ginesta. It's just every time I look into Ginesta, I find a player that I like better than Ginesta just on accident. His own teammates, that Rome is better than he is. I think he's fine. I don't see it watching the little that I've watched. GM Gersh, GM Gersh, what did I tell you? I told you love Trevor Larnack. Kumar Rocker, Graham says, Kumar is a big-bodied, hard-throwing, high-school-aged pitcher who throws straight Gasio and has some nasty filth on the backside there, too. Yeah. How is Hudson looking? Dakota Hudson looks pretty damn good as well. The important thing with Dakota Hudson is that he's back to striking people out. Almost a batter an inning, and he's not lasting so long in games, so you're seeing like 5 batters in 5 innings, or 5 batters in 6 innings, or 4 batters in 6 innings. The strikeout numbers are going up. That's the positive. And he's still getting a good amount of ground balls. What'd I say? Alec Baum, or Bohm, or whoever for Wichita State. I like him way better than I like Grayson Ginesta. Yeah. There you go, Graham. That's just for you. What do you got, Graham? Any other comments? Anything good? Blues at top 3. Like top 3 players? What you do is you run Schwartzy out there with Tarasenko and Shen. There you go. That's your top 3 right there. I went to high school with Alec Baum. Did you really? Big Ben Poe. What was your scouting report? Was he a big deal in high school? I'm checking my list, Kyle. We're on to question 13 of 40 now. Graham, direct the rest of your questions to Brendan Schaefer. Only people with hair answer your questions from here on out. Top 3 pick or Machado in free agency? Machado in free agency. I played against Tristan Pompey, and it wasn't pretty. Yeah, Tristan Pompey is a beast, too. Pitcher or position player for Cardinals at 19, whoever's the best on their board. I don't care. I want it to be Seth Beer, although I do think Seth Beer is not helping his stock at all. I think the early projections that he's a Comp A round 2 player are going to hold steady. But honestly, whoever they have as the best player on their board is who they need to take. Basically, is there a greater than 5% chance to miss it? I played against Ty Cobb. Holy Schilt. Yeah, Mike Schilt. For those of you who don't know, Mike Schilt has been around for 197 years. He played against Ty Cobb and Joe DiMaggio and Lou Gehrig, and now his body is melting off of his bones. Seth Whiskey. Yeah, when we do Prospects After Dark, Seth Beer will be Seth Whiskey. Nolan Gorman is falling in projections. The little bit I watched Nolan Gorman I wasn't big on, but I haven't watched enough to really have formed an opinion on him. You are the best, Kylie. Thank you, Graham. When does O'Neill get his first hit? In like 3 years when he gets regular at-bats. Do you know how the Memphis Redbirds did against the Iowa Cubs carry-on cards? They beat the Iowa Cubs 3-0 today. And they pretty well steamrolled them. Austin Gombers struck out 16 in 8 innings while throwing 85 of 112 pitches for strikes. He didn't walk a guy and let up 6 hits, had a game score of 92, and almost single-handedly won that game for them. That Memphis team just keeps winning. I saw an interesting stat. In 12 of the 19 games for Memphis, they've had a quality start. That's incredible. The Iowa Cubs haven't existed since something or another. By the way, again, that's the worst lineup in minor league baseball. Suge Knight's murder trial is set for September. I thought Suge Knight was dead. Did somebody murder Suge Knight? How many people do you think Suge Knight has had murdered over the years? Biggie, Tupac, he had both of those guys murdered, right? Squirt Warner says, Kyle, stop. Am I not supposed to talk about Suge Knight? Look, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, and neither is Suge Knight. You know anything about Buehler with the Dodgers? Yeah, Walker Buehler is a monster. He's a top 5 to 10 pitcher in the minor leagues who's now pitching for the Dodgers. I don't know how he's doing. I think that game probably just just got underway. I like him a lot, and I think that he's just another great piece that the Dodgers have, and they'll probably utilize a 10-day DL to get the most out of Walker Buehler and the rest of their starting rotation. You need to check out Ryan Weathers, Nasty High School. I've seen Ryan Weathers again. I don't know enough about him to formulate my own opinion. I know the highlights that I've seen. He looks like a monster. I know he's a big boy. Why should he? We should have drafted. I don't know what's going on. Kyle, what do you do for a living? That's none of your damn business. We missed Walker B by 1 pick. That's right. The Dodgers picked him right before the Cardinals had a chance. Hey, dude comes in and kills Kyle. Don't even talk about Suge Knight. Yeah, that's right. Look, you don't talk about Suge Knight if you want to live. I'm on the 3rd floor of an apartment, and if you ask Vanilla Ice, he'll be the first one to tell you Suge Knight will hang a motherfucker out of that window. Don't think he won't. He'll hang you from your shoelaces and shit right out of a balcony. Is Wong trade bait at the deadline, or how long of a leash now? Look, I think that in the proper upgrade that all of the Wong, Jerko, maybe even potentially Carp contingent could be trade bait. I don't think it's likely. No, they picked him 1 after we picked Plummer. I always get that wrong. I got that wrong with VHS 2 years ago. I don't know why. What my brain does is I was really big on Corey Seager, and Corey Seager went 2 picks before the Cardinals had a chance to select him. And then I was also big on A.J. Pollock, and Pollock went a pick or 2 picks ahead of where the Cardinals could pick. So my brain just does this thing where I immediately assume that the guy went 1 pick ahead or 2 picks ahead. So I apologize for that. Thank you for correcting me. What you do for a living? I am a foreman of a concrete crew, and it's a long story. Devers or Senzel, push. Looking back on baseball drafts, you can always find a gripe if you're looking for it. So there's nothing that is more ignorant of fandom than to go back and nitpick the Major League Baseball draft. Anytime you try to use that against an organization, it's just proving that you're grasping for straws, because the Major League Baseball draft is the biggest crapshoot ever. There were 12 rounds of people who drafted players before Albert Pujols. That's just how this thing works. The Major League draft is the most random, most difficult thing. The minor leagues in Major League Baseball is the most difficult projection system. It's foolhardy and ignorant to criticize a team afterwards. Now, it is fair to call Nick Plummer out. As much as I love Nick Plummer, I really do like Nick Plummer, because if you remember at the time when the Cardinals took Nick Plummer, it was a head scratcher. A lot of people thought it was a move to save bonus pool. I'm not going to comment on that, but it definitely got some people curious when they drafted him, and even the pundits were like, "That's a little early." Is this a reference to me, Kyle? No, Graham, it's not. It's just a reference to fandom in general. After the 4th round, they just start picking names, to be honest. Believe it or not, it's even earlier than that. I tried to get Evan Mendoza to talk about it a little bit over the weekend, but the rumor is, one of those terribly kept secrets, is that a lot of times before a player's even drafted, a team has agreed to a contract with them. And a lot of times that's why you see players go in the top 100 that are question marks. Because teams have said, all right, they've already reached out to their representatives and said, look, we're going to give you 500 under slot if you sign. Oh, God, he pulled the beanie off. That's right, I did pull the beanie off. It's hot in here. I got to go put a T-shirt on. Pete Cosmo was a real avocado head scratcher. Believe it or not, it wasn't that much of a jump. A lot of people had Pete Cosmo at the late 1st, early 2nd round. And the Cardinals saw a guy who they believed at the time could definitely stay at shortstop, and that's rare. Alex, when Carlos Martinez's career with Cards is finished, he'll trail only Gibson in strikeouts. True or false? I'll say true. I'll say true. True that, Alex. Thanks for joining here. Come off the drugs, Jay. I don't know what that says. Just slide that hat in a box. I'll send you my address. Everybody, Cards gifts. Everybody wants one of these things, man. Everybody wants one. At UCB, the other bloggers were talking about it. Everyone wants that swag, bro. Everyone wants that swag. Let's see. Where are we at? Where are we at? Here's where I'm at. I've got this much of the moonshine left. I'm going to take a drink. Merch coming soon, Cards Gift says. Tom McCoy says, we need beanies. I agree, Tom. Nice Jurassic Park hoodie. So, Carrie, it actually says Jurassic Kick. And this is the kickball team that I played on for years and years at Tower Grove Park. And it's a beer drinking, paint can drinking league with some pretty cool people. And I'm representing for them. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, bottoms up. Does UCB stand for University of Cardinals Blogs? No, it's a United Cardinals Bloggers, I believe. Is Birds on the Black the best of the best around Cardinals blog sphere? I am partial and biased, but I believe that the only thing that holds Birds on the Black back is me. I think I am easily the worst element, like not even close. I think that nearly all of you would agree to. And I think if they had like a real minor league expert, I think that they'd be in a lot better shape. But I think for the shorts and the quick insight that you're going to get from Alex, you're not going to beat that. The GIF work of the illustrious Cardinals GIFs and Nick Childress and Chill is second to none. The Athletic uses them. Think about that. And they keep trying to get as much of GIFs as possible. And then Tara, who is the media maven, she's incredible. Talking with her is just it's one of the most enjoyable experiences that you can have. And Zach and his analytics is incredible. Zach got to meet Mike Gersh, and I have no doubt in my mind that Zach, while he was talking to Mike Gersh walked away thinking, this is a very, very impressive young man, because every time I talk to Zach, I feel that way. Zach's going to be a bigwig. I'll stand by that, and I'll get a chance to say I got the DM with that guy. Because we're going to be hearing a lot about Zach in the future. And then you've got stlCupofJoe, who is a celebrity in the blogosphere. He is the celebrity in the blogosphere. And, joking around, I'm tough to, like, pin down for plans, but it is an honor and humbling as hell for stlCupofJoe to be like, hey, let's go grab a beer sometime. Like, I'm intimidated by that because he's so much smarter than me and so much better than me. And He deserves to be in rooms with people who have futures and stuff like that, and that's not me. So, but it's cool stuff, and I'm just going on. Also, Zach, don't forget me, Graham says. Graham's always thinking about himself. HBO is running special on Jeter tomorrow. So I heard part of that Jeter and Gumble conversation, and man, it makes you hate Derek Jeter even more than you hated him. Like, I hate Derek Jeter. I used to think that guy was a perfect, like, American life from, like, a bachelor standpoint. And he's made me hate him over the last couple months. I know that he and Mr. Gumble have a rapport outside of the interview, but it seemed to me, just in hearing it on the radio without seeing the body language or the mannerisms, that he was being a huge dick to Mr. Gumble. So, I don't know, maybe watching it on HBO will tell a different story. Holy Shield says Graham was too young. That's true. Jordan like Jeter. Yeah, it seems like that there's some of that. Where will Reis make his rehab starts? My guess is he'll start at Palm Beach, maybe make one or two starts there, and then depending on who is at home, if Springfield's at home and Memphis is on the road, he'll go to Springfield. If Springfield is on the road and Memphis is at home, he'll go to Memphis. But I would imagine he'll start at Palm Beach so that they can keep a really close, tight eye on him at their compound. There was a great question about UCB that I'm sorry I missed. Marlins were some pitching away from contending before Jeter. Yep, I agree. True or false, Reis and Flaherty will be in the rotation by the All-Star game? False. Absolutely false. If you were to ask me if one of them would be in, I might even say, like, consistently, because we know one of them, we know Flaherty will more than likely be in here in the next 5 days. But I don't think it's guaranteed, and I think the one thing that Waino's DL stint does is it buys him more time to be a starting pitcher and to fail. Look, everybody wants to make a big deal about the 2 starts that Waino had, but he had 1 good start on a getaway day against a bad lineup that was made worse by benched veterans. And then a game in Chicago where, sure, he only let up 1 earned run or whatever, but he was terrible. He couldn't find the strike zone, and it was cold, so I'll give him a break. But he got to 3 balls to 7 different batters in that game. He got lucky. He's been lucky in 2 of the 3 starts. And the two of the 3 starts he's been good in. Is Molina going to have a 2020 year? That I would love that. Can you imagine if Yadier Molina had a 2020 year? I don't think it's going to happen. I think if he gets up to like the 10 stolen base mark, you'll see people shut him down. Top 4 WRC hitters on cards by season end. Tommy Pham, Matt Carpenter, Paul DeYoung, and and Jose Martinez. Ooh, wow. So let me do it again. Jose Martinez, Paul DeYoung, Tommy Pham, and Marcell Ozuna. Top 4 WRC plus hitters. Let's see. I'm going back to the well. Moonshine, to you. Worried about Ozuna? No, look, we're almost in May. And I'm not worried about Ozuna. I'm not worried about Wong the way that some people are. I like that Wong hit his first home run. I think we need to take note of that. I think we need to see how it progresses. GM Gersh says Trevor Larnach's swing, Kyle. I told you. Is that a flavor of moonshine? That's a great question, a la Moses. Let me tell you a little story about this moonshine. I'm going to say it one more time. One of my backwoods bastard-esque coworkers, one of my guys at work, makes this in the woods in deep West County in St. Louis area. I think that he blows up minivans and shit to make it happen. And it is straight moonshine that he tried to dilute with a little bit of apple juice. And believe it or not, like, this is pink now. It was the color of, like, tainted apple juice when I got it on Friday, and now it's, like, evolved into something different. So, yeah, it's a little, like, it's not apple pie flavored moonshine. It's homemade, still blowing up, crazy, only the finest for the Hoosiers in St. Louis. Cardinals Tales, as humble in person as he is on Twitter. I didn't get to talk to Cardinals Tales for a while. It's the second time I've met Bob. I didn't get to talk to him very long either time, but talking to Bob all of the bloggers are cool in person. Twitter's a beast. Graham, you know that. You're a Twitter terrorist. The blog, it's tough to be on Twitter. There's no font to tell you how things are meant. There's no sarcasm font. So you don't really know, but I'll say this. The couple times I've got to talk to Bob, he seems like a gentleman, as did everyone else in that room. Don't let Gould hear you talk smack on Waino. I'm not going to talk about Derek, man. Derek gets beat up sometimes, and he brings it upon himself. Derek did something today that kind of bugged me. Somebody went to Keith Law and paraphrased what Derek Gould said about BABIP, and then D. Gould lashed out at the guy and then made a comment that my favorite comment that people make when they're criticizing Twitter is that aggressive backhanded comment but it's Twitter, what would you expect? After he just got done being a Twitter terrorist. Come on, man. If that makes you justify your actions to demean someone in the way that they just demean you, take the high road. There aren't enough people who take the damn high road. Be stronger, be smarter. I want to sympathize with Derek Gould every opportunity I get, but when he does shit like that, I can't take it. Be better. Somebody asked you a question and you wrote an article about it, link to the damn article. Get yourself a click. Don't say, read the paper. That doesn't do you any good. Put it on Twitter. Let them click it. It's just shit like that gets underneath my skin. I think Derek Gould's as good as it gets as a beat reporter. I love him on Twitter. I love that he does have a critical element to him, but he's no Joe Strauss. I love the rant from Kyle. It's not a rant. And again, I'm a big Derek Gould fan. That's what really makes me sad. He's a smart guy. He's a good guy. Everyone who meets him in person kind of says the same thing. Well, most of the people who meet him in person say the same thing. It breaks my heart when he stoops to the level of Twitter trolls. Yes, don't ask Derek about fuck it. That was Graham. I'll call you out for being an asshole, but that was uncalled for the way he came after you, in my opinion. Anyways, did you see the video of Bryant getting smoked in the face? No. Did Chris Bryant get smoked in the face? Oh, man, my fantasy team can't have that. And I hate that. I hate seeing that someone got hit in the face. You know, every time now that I think of someone taking a ball to the face, I think of Daniel Ponce de Leon last year. I was at work when that happened, and I pulled up the video and just watching it, like, it makes you crumble. It was hilarious, blah, blah, blah. Am I really too young for UCB? Let's see. It's hard to, so he got hit, he got hit in the helmet. Good. Is he okay? Is Chris Bryant okay? I don't want to see anyone hurt like that. No concussion. Thank you very much, Lauren. Tour guide Derek didn't give me directions to fuck it. Yeah, again, let's move on from the Derek Gould talk. Let's not bash him. If he's not going to take the high road, we should. Gould is awesome, but also chill on trying to be a troll. Again, we'll move on from that. Somebody mentioned something about, like, being Joe Strauss is a tall order. I know a lot of people had problems with Joe Strauss. What I will say is I love Joe Strauss with every bit of my being. Wildcat says he's got to dip out because of a paper. Wildcats, thanks for joining us. Good luck on your paper. Again, getting back to Joe Strauss, I love Joe Strauss with every ounce of my being. I always viewed him for what he was doing on Twitter. At the end of his life, he was overly critical of Carlos Martinez, and he helped drive some of the people that are on the bandwagon of Carlos with the concentration issue all these years later, and that wasn't fair. But other than that, all of the criticism that he levied was beautiful. And I woke up every Sunday morning looking forward to a Joe Strauss article in the paper. As a matter of fact, the last time I bought a Post-Dispatch newspaper was the day that Joe Strauss died. That was the last time I bought the Post. And honestly, my interest in the Post has kind of gone with the loss of Joe Strauss. If I could be half the man that Joe Strauss was, my life would be an incredible, incredible endeavor. Does Hicks tunnel his pitches? I'll leave that to the experts. Got Joe's autograph as a kid. Really good dude. Everyone who ever met Joe says that. Getting back to Hicks and tunneling, I don't think tunneling's the issue. We talked about it a little this weekend. I know that Zach and Joe talked about it. I didn't get to hear it. I was too busy acting out and trying to be the life of dinner that I didn't get to eavesdrop on the conversation. But they made some compelling arguments that I only heard parts of that I wish that I could make. I would actually love for the two of them to podcast and talk about it. And maybe I'll take that to the group message because I think it would be a damn treat to hear Zach and Joe talk about Hicks's tunneling and maybe what he can do to increase his strikeouts. Gifts, put that in the group message. Make that happen. All right, so this is the end of the first. How many ballparks have you been to? Patrick B asks. I've been to Old Yankee Stadium, Fenway, both Bushes, Kauffman, Roger Dean. I guess that's it. That's it. I haven't been to a lot of stadiums. That's kind of embarrassing. I've been to more minor league stadiums. I've been to AutoZone. I've been to Hammond's. I've been to Dozer. I've been to probably as many minor league stadiums as I've been to major league stadiums. All right, so getting away from that, I have not been to Wrigley. I've got, oh my God, man, you want to talk about psychosis here? You're gonna break down the psychology of Kyle. I've got this thing about peeing in troughs. I can't do it. I freeze up. There's too much dude around, and I can't do it. But then I got to go to the bathroom at the same time. So going to Wrigley is out of the question because I go to the bathroom a lot. I would imagine my prostate is the size of my avocado head. I just can't do it. So I can't go to Wrigley. I just can't. And I'm going to drink when I'm at a baseball game. So there's none of that. Yeah, they say the confines are pretty friendly. A little too friendly, if you ask me. I do regret not ever going to Comiskey or whatever the hell they call it these days. I'll have to ask Zach Gifford, whatever that is on the other side of Chicago. Sit in the bleachers outside the stadium. Not really. That's probably the way to do it. But does that count as going to the stadium? Are we going to get a write-up on the Mo Gersh UCB Q&A? Well, I know that over at STL Hat-Trick, Stephen McNeil had the video of it, and you should definitely go check that out. And I'm sure someone will. I'm not going to. I asked a question, but I took it easy. I didn't videotape it. I didn't record any of it. I love the troughs. Good for you, a la Moses. Show that dick, bro. Guaranteed rate field. Yeah, guaranteed rate field. Comiskey. Fuck it is actually pronounced Phuket, Kyle. Well, trust me, if I'm an adult and I spell my name like that, I'm saying fuck it. I'm taking ownership of it and I'm rolling with it. All right, back to this. All right. Oh. Yeah, trough is no big deal. You meet nice people. Little too nice. What is your all STL today handle? I don't even know what that is. Why is Langford on the Duncan jersey? Mo's algorithm was going to introduce himself as who's Langford the other day, and I wish he would have. But we get the who's Langford in a Kolten Wong jersey, Duncan. That's Ray Langford. Hopefully here in about a week, 2 weeks, they're naming Ray Langford as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame. Shout out to Chris Duncan. Yeah, no, all joking aside, I hope Chris Duncan is healthy. I hope, they said he's going. Let me put it this way. I can sympathize with a gentleman going through some brain issues. I've got a family issue currently that's kind of in that same area, and I wish nothing but the best for him because what he's going through right now and what he's gone through in the past is some serious stuff. Speedy recovery for Dunk. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What else? Do we want to talk about anything else? I got way off the beaten path, rather. Cardinals Rants asked me on Twitter a while back. Think the Cardinals were scouting Tampa Bay righties? I don't know. I think that the Cardinals probably have scouts at nearly every other team's games. I think sometimes we invest a little too much into it as we project, hoping for Chris Archer more than anything. Cards Rants asked me, will the Cards be more prone to use Gomber as a starter over Hicks because of the lack of left-handers in the rotation? I wanted to touch on this because one thing that I took away from hearing Mo talk, especially about Jordan Hicks and Alex Reis, is I don't think they necessarily care about the lefty-righty thing. I think what they're more concerned about is what opportunity presents itself. I think that if there's an immediate need, say Tyler Lyons get hurt, I think Austin Gombers slides into the bullpen, especially if Ryan Sheriff isn't ready yet. I don't think that the left-handed, like having a lefty in the rotation bears weight the way, and to the organization the way it does to fandom. Holy Shield asks, fuck, marry, kill, Trevor Miller, Dennis Reyes, and Ron Vallone. Now, I'm finding in these F, marry, kills that I like a pudgy dude. So give me that Dennis Reyes. I want to explore his Wonderland body, and I'll marry that Vallone. I'm going to the Memphis game this Friday. Who should I be most excited to see? Well, let me take a look and see who's going to be starting that game. Of course, that's very much in flux. But you're going to want to keep an eye on Randy Arozarena, the entire outfield. Maybe Tyler O'Neill will be there. We'll see. But Mercado, Jag, and Randy, you're going to want to keep an eye on. You'll have Schrock and Munoz more than likely at short and second base. You're going to want that. You're going to want to watch that. What I want you to do is I want you to keep a close eye on Luke Voigt. That's what I would like for you to do. Keep a close eye on him because he's really, really striking the ball well. It's just right at people right now. And then Patrick Wisdom will probably be at third base and Carson Kelly will probably be catching. Depending on who the starter is, all 9 players you're going to want to keep a close and tight eye on. Like Tom McCoy says, Randy, of course, but everyone there is worth keeping an eye on. Who do you pick to lead off? I personally go Pham. I don't care. I like Pham hitting 2. I like Carp leading off, I guess. I don't have a preference. This is what I know. I like, as long as in the top 3 now, because I've succumbed to Dexter Fowler at the 5-hole. I want Carp, Pham, and Jose Martinez in that order, or I guess Pham, Carp, Jose Martinez. I like the idea of Pham because of his speed being in front of Carp, because Carp draws pitches and it gives Pham a better chance of steal. But I don't care. I've never bought into the narrative that Matt Carpenter can only lead off, but you know what? He's good leading off, so maybe your best bet is to just set him, stick him, and roll. Yeah. I think that's pretty much about it. Do you ever want to fast forward to see how your favorite prospects do in the ML? Yeah, especially, it's rare that I become so biased in regards to prospects like I am for Andrew Kisner, Randy Arozarena, and Ryan Helsley. And right now, I would kill to fast forward 2 years into the future and see where they're at, see how they're doing. Absolutely. 2 years ago, I wanted to fast forward to show people that Luke Weaver was going to be fine last offseason this prior offseason. I wanted to fast forward to show people that Jack Flaherty was going to be fine. So yeah, all the time. And I'll be honest, I think about Alan Craig a lot when I think about prospects. You know, I was big on Alan Craig before they called him up. Huge. And then they called him up and he sucked. He was miserable. And I tried to stick with him, but I lost hope. And then he went back down to Memphis and was really, really great again. And then it took him a minute to get going. But he was great when he finally got going. You know, and it was kind of the same way with Tommy Pham. I love Tommy Pham. I was such a big fan of Tommy Pham. And then he came up, and he was pretty solid, and then he hit a home run against Kershaw in the playoffs, which was incredible. And then he came up 2 years ago, and he struck out 50% of the time, and you thought, well, I guess we'll throw Tommy Pham to the Wolves, and then spring training, he was terrible again. I bring all that up because, nearly like Juan Yepez, I would kill to fast forward 3 years into the future and see if this success that Juan Yepez is having is sustainable, if he's touching the majors, if he's even successful in Springfield or Memphis. Yeah, so with all of these prospects, absolutely, I'd kill to press the fast forward button. Some of these prospects, I'd like to press the rewind button. You should work in sports radio. You have it. Thank you, DeGarg. I appreciate that. You're wrong, but I appreciate it. Is Victor Roach any good? Monster Oppo shot tonight. So Victor Roach, former first-round pick out of by the Milwaukee Brewers, I believe 28th overall. He's 26 years old. He's built bigger and stronger than Jag is, and you guys know that Jag is a muscle-bound maniac. He's got like a 40-pack abs. I feel like I should tweet out that picture because it's incredible. He has real power. He worked this offseason to change his swing to the launch angle thing. He's hitting for power, and we'll see where it goes. This is the one thing to keep in mind with Victor Roach, is that he's in Springfield, and a guy who's been in the league, the minor leagues, as long as he has, with the pedigree that he has. What he's doing in Springfield doesn't matter. All he's doing is working on a swing there. If he and when he makes a jump to AAA and he starts producing there, then it's worth talking about Victor Roach. Also, to be honest with you, I love the name Victor Roach. It's a cool name. I think it's the kind of thing that you can get behind for a major league player. I like that Victor Roach. He's a beast, man. He's a beast. I'm bigger on him than I am the Goatsman. Thoughts on Ramon Urias? So, as N-Chill told me, I wasn't watching the Springfield game earlier, but Ramon Urias had a big home run at Springfield. He's gotten off to a solid start at Springfield after struggling in limited duty at Memphis. What I will say is he should play well at Springfield. We'll see how he does after more than just a couple starts. But he is, in the Mexican League, he raked. He was a shortstop in the Mexican League, I believe, since day one. When I was talking to Alex Carrion Velo on Twitter, we both kind of agree that he's more of a second baseman than anything. By the way, I should retweet Alex because he's a great follow. And thanks to Google Translate, when he tweets something in Spanish, you can kind of translate it. But he's a great follow for the Mexican League players and the Latin players. John Greco asked, is Yepez in AA? No, he's in single A, not even advanced A, Peoria. How do you feel about the play-by-play on Fox Sports Midwest for the Red Series? I was at the game on Sunday, and I had it muted on Friday when I watched because I was watching other games at the time, and I didn't get to watch on Saturday. I know my brother is not a big fan of Brad Thompson, but I like Brad Thompson a lot. I think that Jim Edmonds is really good, and I think that Rick Ankiel is really good, and if the Cardinals could manage to keep those guys in the boot with Dan McLaughlin, then I think we will be fine. Periscopes for You just retweeted me. That's a weird thing. Random Periscope every 3 minutes. Yepez will make the jump soon enough. Someone told me he might even skip high A. Yeah, Tom. I guess that there's a chance. Let's see. Alex Cards asked. Alex Crisafulli asked me. Old and going to bed. Don't stay up too late, kids. Kyle, you were awesome at this. Thank you, Alex. I just want to be remotely as good at this as you are at what you do, man. Tap my phone, bro. I thought Brad Thompson did great. Someone says. I like Brad Thompson. I like those other guys. Is Lane Thomas still raking? Stu Stiles, who does our recaps over at Birds on the Black and does a great job in concert with Cardinals Gifts, getting those out to you. Yeah, he is. As a matter of fact, he hit his 7th double tonight. That puts him 2nd in the Texas League in doubles. Last I checked, I could probably pull it up, but he was 2nd in total bases as well in the Midwest League. He's age appropriate for the league. He's busting onto the scene. Lane Thomas already more home runs this year than last, but also keep in mind Lane Thomas was hurt last year, so it's not like, and granted, not a whole lot of at-bats to have it, but it's also the difference between playing in like the Florida State League and playing in the Texas League. So the numbers are naturally going to inflate because they're in a hitter's league with hitters' ballparks as opposed to a pitcher's league and pitcher's parks. Just keep that in mind. Thanks for not talking shit about my boy. Ricky's mom, 69. I like the 69. What's up, Ricky's mom? Miss the days of Al berating Dan. Al's gone soft. Al's never been good at this. Harrison Bader is doing better than expected, right? Really good and fun to watch. Kyle, can I get your autograph anytime you want, Gersh? So what I'll say about Bader, and I tweeted about it, the guy that he was at the draft was never anything more than a fourth outfielder peak, fifth outfielder likely. Really, really great organizational depth piece. And for what Harrison Bader has turned himself into through hard work and dedication is incredible. That's why you should never undersell Harrison Bader. He's quicker than he was. He gets a better first step. His arm is stronger. The plate discipline still is lacking a little bit, although his limited numbers are good so far. I like that. I like him a lot. I absolutely like him a lot. And I'm happy that he's gotten to where he's at. Let's see. Oh, somebody gave me a super heart. I don't know what that is. What do you think about Gomber as a second lefty out of the bullpen this season? Andres, my thought is, just like with all of the starting pitchers in the minor leagues, you wait till the very last minute to use them. What I think is that Cecil is going to be back in 2 weeks, more than likely. And I'm hoping Tyler Lyons is fine. I would still think that if Tyler Lyons goes down, you're looking at Ryan Sheriff. But I want Austin Gomber in the major leagues as soon as possible because I want to see what happens. Is Bader a better fourth outfielder than Grichuk? I think so. Better career or O'Neill or Bader? I'll say O'Neill based on like WRC plus. But maybe if you go WAR and defensive run save and all that stuff, you might be talking about Bader. This is what I know. Tyler O'Neill wasting away on the major league bench isn't doing anyone any good. It's not doing the Cardinals. It's not doing O'Neill. It's not doing the organization any good. Will Holland get back to his usual self? I thought Derek Holland looked really good yesterday. I thought he's put together a couple good appearances in a row. Keep an eye on that. But yeah, he will. Bader's arm is underrated. I think Bader's arm is rated appropriately. I think most people view it as a good arm. I view it as above average, not quite good or great. I think if there's one thing we're underrating, it's his speed and athleticism. Did I say Derek Holland again? Holy shit. Every time I mean to say Greg Holland and I say Derek Holland, it's the left-handed thing. I'm always immediately thinking of left-handers. We need more infield power in the system. You're right, but take a step back and think about how hard it is to develop power that translates to the major leagues, and then also think about how hard it is to develop power on the infield that translates to the major leagues. I bet you 20 to 25 organizations in baseball are saying the same thing. Holland's ball was dancing the other day. Needs time to give it. Needs time. Don't give up yet. I agree. Derek Holland and Edwin Jackson had an epic duel. Never forget. That 2011 World Series is the greatest thing to ever happen to St. Louis. How long until the Cubs suck again? Great question. Hopefully tomorrow. I'd love to move Fowler and put Bader in right field full time. Again, I know people turn on Dexter Fowler. I like Dexter Fowler, and I get the prospect intrigue in Harrison Bader. It's April 23rd. We're a month into the season almost. Let's just give it a little bit of time. Let's see how it goes. I know a lot of people don't like Dexter Fowler. I don't get it. There's enough options that you can still be patient and see how things develop. Mercado, Gomber for Machado, done. I don't think the O's would do that. I think the Cardinals might consider it. I would hate to get rid of Austin Gomber. I'm such a Gomber homer. Fowler's OBP is crazy for a guy hitting below 200. Again, but nobody cares about OBP. Right now, Dexter Fowler is just a fun guy to beat up on. Fowler had 4 walks yesterday, yeah. I like Dex, but I'd move him, John Greco says. I get that. Trust me. I mean, you see the contract. You think the Cardinals have a surplus of outfielders, but none of them have proven that they can do it the way that Dexter can. And I'll tell you what, from a personal standpoint, there aren't too many guys worth liking the way that it's worth liking Dexter Fowler. That smile is worth every penny. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, for real. Dexter Fowler, he's a charming fellow. No one's taking Fowler, Naparelli says. I disagree with you. If there's one thing the trade of Mike Leake proved, it's that somebody would. Kyle has had 2,000 total viewers, LOL. Fowler needs to give up his lead-off aspirations and just be a 5 or 6 hole hitter. I'd be fine with that. No one's taking Hayward. I agree with that. I think, but that's like, Hayward's twice the contract and half as much like actual production. I know Defensive WAR will tell you something different, but I'll take Dexter Fowler at the same contract over Jason Hayward any day of the week. And I would definitely take Dexter Fowler at a reduced contract over Jason Hayward any day of the week. GM Gersh, true dat. Whatever you said, GM Gersh, true dat. I'm going to take a drink. Tom McCoy says, does anyone know if Dex wants to lead off? So apparently there was a quote today. I don't know the context. All I can tell you is my summarized version of the quote that I saw in a tweet. He was upset that no one is telling him, like there isn't communication there. They're not telling him where he's going to hit. They just put him in the lineup, and he's a little upset that there isn't any communication. Blah, blah, blah. So I think he's frustrated with that. I think he wants to lead off because that's where he feels comfortable, but I think he'll hit anywhere as long as the message is being conveyed to him. Gant, Waka, Mercado for Machado. I don't think the Cardinals would do that. I don't think the Cardinals would do that. Whether I would do it or not is pointless. I just don't think the Cardinals would do it. I think Mo's algorithm came up with the closest one. He said Helsley, Hudson, and Jerko for Machado. Now, I think more than likely it would have to be like Helsley or Hudson with Gant and probably Kolten Wong, although they have Jonathan Shoup. But I think that would be more than likely. Not trading any assets for a rental, John Greco, and that's what I was saying in the direct message, the group message as well. The Cardinals just don't do that because 6-7 WAR players, fine and dandy, although the advanced metrics, if you want to go full-on advanced metrics, show that Manny Machado is a terrible shortstop so far this year. The Cardinals value control over WAR. Never forget that. Somebody asked, Kramer update, my favorite Palm Beacher. So Kramer is not taking very many pitches. Our boy struggled a little bit. I'll give you the stat line for Kramer Robertson. His average is 236. His on-base percentage is 317. And he's struggling a little bit. But just give him a little time. Again, keep in mind that the Florida State League is not an easy league for hitters. Oftentimes, you'll see the ball blowing out to right field, so lefties have a little bit of an advantage. Just know that it's not an easy league for hitters. More than likely, if he was back in Peoria, he'd be at like 280, 330, and we'd be talking in a positive manner. Any prospects for prospect deals you would like to see? Unfiltered Anal, thanks for joining our little extravaganza. I just wanted to say Unfiltered Anal. No, I can't stress it enough. The prospect for prospect trade never happens. If it happens, it's the most rare of rarefied air. So don't even focus on it. It's a waste of time to even think about it. Machado is not overrated. Did anyone say he was overrated? Did I say that? I'd trade my right testicle for a signed Machado. The key being there, right testicle. No, the key being there is signed Machado. I wouldn't trade him. I would give my left testicle. I'm left-handed. I think the left one's more important. I'm not 100% sure if it's true or why. But I would give multiple testicles. And I only have 2. Some people have 3. Good for them. Show-offs, if you ask me. But I would give both of those things for a signed, sealed, and delivered Machado. But without the contract, I'm not giving up very much. Somebody says Manny Machado is a stud. I agree. DeGarg says his Monday is done. Great show, Kyle. Thanks. DeGarg, thanks for playing along. As always, to everyone. I'd take another deal like Gonzalez for O'Neill. Yeah, but I wouldn't say that was prospect for prospect. That's a different world. Marco Gonzalez had pitched in almost parts of 3 seasons. And Tyler O'Neill was the somewhat declining asset for a team that had done damage to prospects in the past. And were trying to get as much value as they could for him, playing against what their past history had proven true. Machado and Tavares and STL next year. Waka Wong, Mercado for Josh D. GM Gersh, I'm glad you bring that up. I think right now we all need to hit the brakes on Josh Donaldson a little bit. I don't think that I would go anywhere near Josh Donaldson until he proves that shoulder is fine. I'm not worried about it personally, but I want to see it. Marco pitched in 13 World Series, is that right? Yeah. He pitched as the lefty reliever. Was it the 13 World Series? Why did I think that was the... No, that would have been the 2014 CS against the Giants. Not the World Series in 13. Somebody's going to have to look that up. Yeah, the 14 playoffs, that's right. Hard pass on Donaldson, maybe John Greco. Also, the Blue Jays are doing well. They're not trading him if they keep it up. As long as the Blue Jays are around the wild card, they're not going to trade Josh Donaldson. If the Orioles climb back into the wild card spot, they're not going to trade Manny Machado. And it's still early. Anything could happen. Drink. Oh, God, that fucking is incredible. He pitched well versus the Dodgers in the playoffs. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Rank our outfield prospects. Well, I don't consider... I'm going to take Harrison Bader out of it. I'm going to have to do the work, but I think Harrison Bader is past rookie eligibility. I'll say Tyler O'Neill, Randy Arozarena, Jose Adolis Garcia, Oscar Mercado, Dylan Carlson, Lane Thomas, and then that's as far as I'm going. Christian Villanueva, apparently with Holy Schilt saying his name, there's probably a really good sign that Christian Villanueva did something good again. GM Gersh asks, do you think Kershaw leaves the Dodgers this offseason? I don't know what to think. In this offseason, I asked people who would they rather sign if they were all free agents, if the contracts were all the same, Machado, Harper, or Kershaw. Everyone said Machado for the most part. Machado has never had over 100 RBIs in 6 full seasons. John Greco, what I'll say to that is RBIs are kind of a tainted stat. I think most people can agree on that. I am, granted it'd be nice to see the 100 RBI by his name, but I don't think it matters or means as much as it used to. Matt Chapman and Seth Manea, I would love that. I would love Matt Chapman and Seth Manea with the birds on the bat. Give me Kershaw Fauchau. I love Lance. By the way, Adam, it was great talking it over with you yesterday. It's great seeing you this weekend. Like I said, if you and Rusty ever make plans to go to a Cardinal game, hit me up, and I'd love to come hang out with you guys. I love Kershaw. To be honest with you, I think if it came down to Kershaw, Machado, and Harper, I might take Kershaw. It just depends on it. And Mo's algorithm says LOL RBIs. Look, RBIs, my thought about a lot of those stats that the advanced metric guys just blow off completely is if it matters to the players, then it shouldn't matter. Now, we should all keep it in context that RBIs is a tainted stat. Runs are a tainted stat. Hits, errors, they're all tainted stats. But they matter to the players. And granted, in 10 years that might change as the next generation that is used to the sabermetric revolution becomes baseball players. But it matters to the players. Talking to the Hicks family, if you want to tell him that win on Saturday doesn't matter, you're out of your fucking mind. That's ignorant, and it's one way of thinking. If it matters to the players, it matters. Don't ever discount that. Because, sure, it's fun to take the person out of sports so that you can get the most analytically driven answers, but there's still persons in sports. Munoz hit a bomb today. Yeah, Munoz hit a bomb. Urias hit a home run. The Cardinals minor league bats are hitting. As a matter of fact, that is a trend minor league wide, the hitting. Some pretty impressive numbers getting put up. As I talked with Zach Gifford over the weekend, it's almost like that ball that was in baseball last year has found its way to the minor leagues. Did you see Brian Kenny saying that errors shouldn't matter anymore? Yeah, we talked about it in one of the group chats. And, is a 780, we'll get to the error thing. Is a 782 OPS good? It's average below. Ideally, you want everyone to be right around 800. Is Munoz going to hit in the MLB? His stint this year was not pretty. Yeah, but again, that's what happens when you use a guy who still needs development time in a very limited and part-time role. You saw it at the end of spring training. We talked about it on all these periscopes with Munoz, that he was getting beat low and outside. he needs development. Getting back to the error thing, look, it's fun to be cutting edge. It's fun to think ahead. Get rid of the error. There needs to be a different classification for this. I hate this mindset that everything is either good or bad. Like, errors are bad. No, errors are good. No, errors are wrong. No, errors are right. Come on, be smarter than that. Find the middle ground. User rating is stupid. Defensive runs saved is stupid, but it serves a point. The more research they do, the more they find that all of that stuff is wrong. That it's just as miscategorized as errors are. Let's continue to work to find out what the best metric is. Let's continue to work, but let's utilize all this information that is on our fingertips to create a stat, to create a picture. It's like when you go outside, I could say that the sky's blue, but if I don't tell you that I can't see the sky because there's trees in the way and the sun's shining and there's clouds out there, you don't have the full picture. Let's take everything, put it on the canvas, and let the picture paint itself. If I see a guy who has 36 errors, but you're telling me his user rating is the best in baseball, well, that tells me that he's pretty damn good regardless of errors. But if I see a guy who has 5 errors, who doesn't get to anything, then he's not good at his position. Take all of the information you have and let the information create the picture. Don't say one area is bad and the other one is great. When someone else is going to say the other thing, just let the picture paint itself. I like the idea of getting a solid vet to anchor our lineup. I think that they have a couple of veteran anchors between Ozuna and J Mart, and I like the middle of the lineup. Nupperly says stats are all about knowing what they tell you. Yeah, that's part of it for sure. I don't think it's productive to say certain stats don't matter. I think data is important, and I think it all helps paint pictures. Pretty sure Matt Adams was errorless in left field. But I'm glad you bring that up, because it proves my point that errorless, user rating, defensive runs saved, all of that aside, left field is where you put your worst fielder. You put your worst fielder there. That is tried and true. I don't care what you think. You bury your worst fielder out in left field. First base is the second option for where you bury first base is your second option for where you bury your worst fielder, and then you try to be as good everywhere else as possible. Any chance of a better camera angle now that you're famous? No, Mr. Thiessen, no camera angles. As a matter of fact, the best camera angle of me is one where the camera is not pointed at me. Aren't I sleepy? Yes, I'm sleepy. I want to go to bed, but we're having great conversation. If I drink that much shine, I'd be viral already. I like that. I'm a professional. So why does STL put their GG outfielder in left field? Well, Mose, you know the answer to that. It's because when they went to Dexter Fowler, they decided to go with the person instead of the analytics. They went to Dexter Fowler, and if you listen to John Mozeliak, he says, we went to Dexter, we said, you want to play, we told him our plan was to put Pham in center, we asked him if he'd rather play left or right, and he said he wanted to play right field, so they put him in right. And that goes back to my point about the statistics, and mattering and not mattering. They're catering to their people. So, Fowler goes to right because that's where he wants to go, and Ozuna goes to left. Plus, Ozuna's arm is not great at the moment. That's another thing. By the way, I would love to see, because Fowler's arm isn't good either, I would love to see a compromised Ozuna throw against 100% Dexter Fowler and see how they line up. Is Plummer doing anything? No. I'll tell you what, I'm impressed by how many people are concerned about Nick Plummer. We get a lot of questions about Nick Plummer. We get a lot of questions about Yepes. I like that. Is it hard to learn right field when you're used to left field? Look, I can only speak for myself and high school and a little bit of college. No, a corner is a corner. Some guys read the ball better off of the bat in one corner than the other. This is what I know just from my own experience, which is bullshit experience. Center field's tough because if a ball's hit, balls are hard to read. Is Tommy Hedman still on Hall of Fame or MVP pace? Yes, sir. Yeah, he played third base today, and all the returns for him moving around the infield have been positive. Do you think Ozuna's yellow arm sleeve drives BD3 insane? Oh, Mose. Oh, God, I wish I would have asked that question. Oh, my God. Oh, yes, I 100% believe it drives him insane. By the way, Aaron Johnson. Hey, Aaron, the dude that comments way too much on your Dirty 30. No, so Aaron, I appreciate you commenting. I wish everyone would comment on our little forum there at Birds on the Black. I wish the forum at Birds on the Black was better than what it was. But Aaron, I appreciate you joining us. I'm sorry I didn't respond to your last couple of answers. I haven't had time to get on the website. Today was the first time I got on in, honestly, about a month. Will Wisdom come up this year? I don't believe so. There's a lot of obstacles in his way. Somebody says, go Cards. Go Cards. I'm not even old school, and that sleeve low-key drives me insane, Not really says. I don't even think about it. I'm the worst. Oh, the other thing that to take from the Bill DeWitt interview over yesterday was he mentioned that they're thinking about going back to the powder blues in some capacity for all of you 40 to 50-somethings who love the Cardinals of the 80s. Who's the next Kyle Reis show guest? We're going to play it by ear. We're going to play it by ear, and we're going to see how it goes. Hopefully, so the thing you need to understand about the Birds on the Black crew is that other than that they're incredible, is that, a little behind the scenes, Tara Wellman reached out to a contact that she had, and she's trying to hook me up with some other interviews. And God, that's so damn humbling, and that makes me feel so good. And hopefully we can bring you some more. I watched, Ryan Margold says, #Blue Hats. I asked about the Blue Hats. Yes, sir, I did. And my vote was duly noted, but it's not going to happen. Bill DeWitt just kind of blew it off. Seems that the link for jersey is the permanent. Yeah, if we get powder blues occasionally and blue hats regularly, I'm good for life. Me too. Who doesn't love the powder blues? I'm wishy-washy on them because I just don't care. Graham says, hi, Graham. I think we need to trade Wrong and get a better second baseman. I don't know if that's a Freudian slip or not, but yeah, maybe. I think more than likely the internal options are the better options in the Cardinals' minds. Graham says Jed Lowry. Graham loves that Jed Lowry. All right, how are we doing on time? I feel like we've been at this for a while. I think we're already on like an hour and 40 minutes. This is what we're going to do. This is how much moonshine I have. This is how much moonshine I drank. I drank about half of this thing. I'm feeling it. It's starting to kick in a little bit, which is time for me to get off of this. Are there any rule changes MLB could make to incentivize base stealing more? Aaron, that's a great question. I don't think so. And I don't really care. I'm not a base stealing guy. I saw a trade pull today, Machado for Jerko, Helsley, and Hudson. We talked about that. Will Hicks return to being a starter? John Greco. I think Mo said it's very much in flux. I think that the only way it happens is if he struggles. And then he gets, if Hicks ends up being sent down to the minors because of struggle, that's the only way he's going to be a starter in the near future. That's it. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I am watching you in the library, and people are asking why I'm looking at a bearded man. Brian, tell him you're looking at a bearded man because this bearded man makes love with his mouth to a periscope. Don't tell them that. As a matter of fact, don't say that. What I would say to them is, mind your own business. I'm trying to study what not to be in life. If you are watching, you're part of the resistance. We'll get to that. Eric here and Mr. Thomas here in just a little bit. Ben Cerruti's article made me want the Cards to dump money on Harper. I agree. It was a nice, by the way, shout out to Ben Cerruti, who chimed in, who was a pinch hitter over at Birds on the Black. Reach out to Cardinals Gifts if you want to do that. Carrie asks, what's the resistance joke? Well, Carrie, there's something you need to know about me. My name is Kyle Reis. In 1985, a little movie called Terminator came out. I was born in 1986. In the movie in 1985, a gentleman by the name of Kyle Reis goes back in time, seeks out a woman named Sarah Connor, impregnates her with John Connor, and they had this little thing about the resistance. So that's what that joke is from. It's a little inside joke about my name. I got my name from the Terminator movies. My parents thought that they were clever. It turns out they're just kind of brain dead. That's it. All right, so here it is. A drink to all of you for participating in just another fantastic and great Periscope. You are all fantastic. My drink, as always, the last drink of the night, and this is a hell of a shot of moonshine, is to you. No! Not Burley says he was named after a hockey player that got traded 2 weeks after he was born. I like that. That's the ultimate jinx. All right, so for everybody at Birds on the Black, stay tuned. They've got amazing things for you. As a matter of fact, Alex Crisafulli just wrote a short that you're going to want to read. I only skimmed it. It was fantastic. Peace out to everyone. As we like to say, stick to Birds on the Black for more great stuff. If you watch this, then you are part of the resistance. I love each and every one of you. And happy motherfucking hunting!